Ladies, hey, congratulations for Lady Buds.
Thank you so much.
Well, especially congratulations for being part of the Hot Docs Festival this week. How does that actually feel for you?
It's an honor. It's an honor. It's such an amazing film festival. I'm thrilled to be to be launching the film at this amazing festival. It's, you know, we've been working on this film for 4 years. And while it's virtual, we're making the most of it. And it's exciting that to me that people, especially Canadian audiences right now, will be able to see the film as of Thursday. It's the first time the public will see the film. It's a dream come true.
Well, CJ, since we started with you, could you tell us where the original idea came from? What sparked you to do this documentary?
Well, I've lived in California for 20 years, and the legalization of cannabis was on the ballot in 2016. We'd had medical legalization here for 20 years. And when I saw this on the ballot, I knew there was going to be a sea change in California, you know, with the economy, with business, you know, from cannabis always being like kind of, you know, it's sort of an illegal, seen as an illegal substance. And then I started to just do a lot of research and found that there were a lot of women in the space. I read an article somewhere that said there were 36% of women in leadership roles in cannabis, and I was kind of pleasantly surprised. So I started to interview a lot of women. I don't know how true that fact was at the time, but it really piqued my interest. And I was interviewing women in the space. I started to go to cannabis events. I started to become invited to cannabis farms up in NorCal. And then I just saw that women were the backbone of the community. Women were really making changes in cannabis, normalizing cannabis. They were entrepreneurs, they were policymakers. And I soon, just my curiosity led me down this path where I wanted to capture the moment right before legalization happened in California, and then the 1 year following in the lives of these women who were coming out of the shadows after operating for decades, some of them, in the underground cannabis market, and coming into the light and going legal, and seeing how they were going to, attack the barriers of entry to this industry, which were very, very high. And that sort of unfolded in the film, and it was incredible what they had to go through. So I knew I had an interesting story here, and these women are so inspirational. I was very appreciative that they let me in so much to tell their personal stories, which I feel like that's the way to change hearts and minds, is hearing right from their heart. So that's how it all started. None of us knew where this was going. We just were filming, we were traveling, interviewing them, and I'm like, I think this is a feature film. So that's how it came together.
Excellent. The rest of you ladies, was it easy to be convinced to be part of this documentary, and why did you want to participate in this? Who wants to start?
I'll go. Chris asked me to interview at an event, and I thought, in that moment, oh, sure, I'll sign this thing and I'll happily sit for a little interview. And I really had no idea where it was going to go. And then by the end of the interview, I had invited her to come up north, and then it sort of evolved from there. And at first, I didn't think it was going to turn into years of filming. I thought maybe we'd do one interview in the garden and kind of leave it at that. But I think she saw the story building. It was like pre-recreational with Prop 64, and so there was a lot of stressors and a lot of factors that were becoming part of the larger picture, and so it just evolved from there. And it's been really, really amazing experience to be involved. So, yeah.
Excellent, Sue.
Yes, I had like Chiah, I had no idea that me saying yes back then, 4 or 5 years ago, that it was going to last that long. I thought it was like a one-time thing, right? And I said yes to it because I knew Karyn Wagner, And I met Chris and talked with Chris, and she gave me a general idea of what it would be like. And I said, oh, okay. And it would be nice, I'm newly into the I've never been interviewed. I don't think, to my knowledge, on that larger scale before, until Chris came, and it just kind of unfolded. It just happened, and seeing the end product of the film, I felt so proud that she was able to capture the journey of such caring entrepreneurs, businesswomen. It was just very pleasing, and I'm just so happy that now the world will get a chance to see it.
Great. Well, there's a huge difference between, filming this in 2016 and being filmed like back in 2009 when they first legalized medicinal marijuana, because there was still persecution and so on. Was there any fear, or has a lot of things significantly changed to come out of the woodwork by that time?
Well, for me, I've been in the medical market since in California we had Prop 215 medical regulation in 1996. So we've been cultivating under the medical model for many, many years. But will you reframe your question? Sorry, I just had a
I was just basically saying, the difference between 2016 and before 2016, there was still federal prosecution, and so a lot of people were still, hiding the fact of growing marijuana. Why were you afraid, or it made you more confident to actually come out?
Right. So I guess, I had kind of been in it, and I was already sort of doing it in the hopes that we would go towards something, less scary, because there were still helicopters flying around. You still felt nervous about getting busted and, potentially having problems. And so it felt liberating in a way to become legalized here in California and move forward with that. It was still a little bit nerve-wracking. There's a lot of overregulation, as you can see in the film, and you may have heard about, some of the challenges that are still ongoing here in the California industry. And so, just trying to tackle that and stay positive, keep moving forward.
Absolutely. For you, Sue, you created a dispensary, which is also quite a challenge for itself. Could you talk about some of the challenges that you actually have to face, and what has changed in your local city? Because there's still a lot of conservative cities that still won't approve it, dispensaries.
Yes, well, I lived in the city of Berkeley, and but Berkeley was, and like Chiah said, because California, we already, we had medical cannabis for over 27 years. So, and my situation is different than Chiah. Chiah's in the grassroots planting, things of that nature, cultivators. And we were going for a legal permit in Berkeley. And like I said before, being a person of color, we have to do it legally, we have to do it right. And so the challenges, and I kind of forgot the question as well, but it hasn't been that hard in Berkeley, because the Berkeley community and the city council were so supportive of us. If I answered your question, stop grinning.
That's good enough. Chris, how did you follow, how did you want to do the production process, since you want to follow each of these ladies about a year into their lives? I mean, you're talking about at least a half a dozen subjects for yourself, and there's only one of you, of course.
I know, it was a little crazy. I lived in my car for a couple of years, driving up and down the state. I'm based in Los Angeles, and I was up in Mendocino and Humboldt and the Bay Area pretty pretty often. Part of me was a little naive getting into this and saying I'm going to follow 6 women around. But, I really wanted to have a cast of diverse women, multiracial women doing different things in cannabis, different points of view. And so it was really hard because there's so many amazing women in cannabis that they each deserve their own feature film. So it really was me being dedicated to filming quite a bit. And I was lucky to have a cinematographer / producer named Christian Bruno, who was with me many of the times. And sometimes he would head up to Humboldt by himself and get some coverage and follow these women around. And also Raphael Roy, who was in the Bay Area, Claire Majors in the Bay Area. I had a handful of DPs that, had a very journalistic approach to it and followed the women around. So it was complex. And then we ended up with close to 500 hours of footage. So not only was the production challenging, we were in editorial for a full year trying to piece together and thread together the narratives of these women. But I knew we had something special, and these women are so inspiring and their stories are so empowering to me, and I'm hopefully to audiences, that they had the courage to come forth and risk so much, risk their freedom, risk their livelihood because they believed in this plant. So I don't know, I felt called to tell these stories, and it's nice to see women at the helm of cannabis instead of the stereotypical, bro culture that everybody's used to. I thought this was really a unique way to tell the story.
Chiah, did you find more of the challenges because of the local governments, or is it much more challenging because of the competition from the larger players?
I think the main challenge is the local government. The state government poses its own set of challenges, but the rules are very big. There's all these different agencies involved, and everybody wants a little piece of the pie. And so, we deal with about 28 different agencies on the cultivation level that we have to apply, various permits and pay different fees to annually. So there's a lot to keep track of. On the local level, particularly when we had our cannabis ordinance written, the county sort of jumped the gun and created an ordinance before the state had put their regulations out. And so we were locked into 2 actually conflicting sets of regulation here in Mendocino County. And so that, that was really challenging, because on one hand, you're supposed to do this thing and comply with this, but yet, the state is saying something slightly different. And so it was really hard to, know which way to go sometimes. So yes, it's been a real challenge in terms of just the basics of the regulation portion of this.
Absolutely. Sue, with your business, the documentary showed that there was a lot of celebrations. How has that been so far? And does the community still support you?
Yes. Yes, it's been overwhelmingly supported. We have been by the community. We have done well as a first year business, as a business opening up during the pandemic. The Berkeley City Councilmen, the local government there, I have a relationship with each and every one of those city councilmen, as well as the mayor, and they've been very supportive. And so and then just opening up the club after a 12-year journey of trying to get a legal permit, and Chris captured that in the film, that celebration. And really, it's James, right? James is your name? What's your name?
Gig.
Gig. Gig. One thing about it is that we celebrated all the things along the way. You see, because it took a while to get to that. All that work, that time that Chris has captured, you know, we had celebrations, little celebrations along the way. And you have to do it, or, you know, you might quit, you know, because, and I'm grateful. It's like I had said on one of the other interviews. There were many challenges for all of us, for all the women that's in that film, as well as for Chris, our producer. But you have to welcome those challenges, because it's only through those challenges do you grow to the next level. You recognize, I have a saying, universe works for my highest good at all times, regardless of appearances. So you say, well, where does this shit come from then? How are you working for my highest good? There's a gift in it. It's a gift in it. You look for that challenging part. Oh, that's what I need to improve. Then you become better and better and better. Not running away from those challenges, but embracing them. And so that's how that progress went. That's how those celebrations went, like that. And I'm a keen person to remind my son and my daughter-in-law when they say, oh, this is hard, this is da-da-da-da-da. There was a point where they just quit, but I kept on going because I knew. You see, and I keep them balanced like that. I keep them balanced and reminding them on where we're going and how to embrace what seems challenging. And sometimes I forget, you know, and then they remind me.
Great. Chiah, Sue, let me ask you both one last question is, how do you feel for being pioneers in such a new industry? I mean, do you see yourselves as pioneers?
In a way, yeah. I mean, I've been a legacy cultivator my entire life. My father was a cultivator back in the day as growing up, and I don't necessarily see myself as, you know, any kind of special hero or whatever, but you know, I have somehow become sort of a poster child for the industry as being a legacy cultivator, and I'm proud of that. You know, it's a real challenge, and I try to, you know, just remind the community, remind the greater industry that we have to remember and honor the legacy that people like me have built for so many decades, and it's only because of us that, you know, this industry is alive and well, and there's such a variety of amazing products and plants out there. So yeah, I'm really proud of where we are today, even despite all the challenges and the craziness and chaos of being regulated.
Sue, do you see yourself as a pioneer?
Absolutely. See, I have to take a water break. Chris don't give us bathroom breaks or nothing, or water breaks. We've been doing this. That's chill. Since 9 o'clock this morning. Oh, she's a slave driver here. And I love her. But yes, I do. I see myself as a pioneer, and like Chiah, not like I'm a hero and all of that stuff, but I see myself as a pioneer in a developing industry of bringing health and wellness to many, to the world. And I'm known as the trusted face of medical cannabis. And it's because of my age. I see myself as a pioneer because the plant, I didn't choose this industry, it chose me. And I you know, I'm gonna leave a legacy. I want to leave a legacy about this plant, about wellness, about being your best self, about making the world a better place because you live. You just don't exist. You know, you're making a change. That's what Chiah is doing. You know, that's what Chris is doing. That's what all the women in this film is doing. We're making this world a better place because we live. And Chiah, I know it's hard. I know it's hard, but you can't quit because it's in here, girl. It's in here. And even though you quit for 2 days, you'll be back. But yes, I do consider myself a pioneer, and I'm honored to be that. And like Chiah mentioned, I'm also working on my brand and the Mama Sue Wellness, because I want to become a household name. When people turn on their TVs, you know, Mama Sue Wellness, you know, with cannabis, the Glass House Group, that's what we focus on. And bringing wellness and helping people feel good about themselves, feeling great that they're alive. Most people, I'll be 74 this year. Most people that are my age cannot say, I am happy with my life. I am happy with the person I've become and still becoming. You see, that's because I feel good. You know, I use cannabis instead of pharmaceutical drugs, you know, as one alternative. I do many other things. I just don't do the cannabis. I meditate. I'm the whole 9 yards, body, mind, and spirit. I connect with it, and that plant allows you to do that. And Chris has captured all of that in the film. She has. She's captured that. She's captured the struggle. And we better go, because if they're going to give us a bathroom break, we can't go over every time.